Hi preschool families, it's Gisa from Butterfly Garden. Today we're going to read a story about tide pools. If you haven't already watched my previous two videos on tide pools and the rocky shore and made your own tide pool rocky shore model, please be sure to view those videos so that you can make a model too. Today we're going to be reading a story called Maggie's Rocky Shore Adventure. And it's written by Kate Boehm-Jerome and illustrated by Kathleen McCord. Maggie and Jake were about to explore the sea life that lived on the big rocky shore. "Can you help with my boots?" Maggie made a strong plea. "The tide's going out and I want to see." Big brother Jake gave a caution. "Take care. It looks safe to you now, but there's danger out there. You can't go out far even when the tide's low. When the waves come back in, they could drown you, you know." Maggie knew Jake was right. "I'll stay close. Never fear. Just help me to find all the animals here." Jake smiled and said, "They're not all in one spot. Their location depends on the tide quite a lot. To most critters out here, the whole shore isn't home, for each animal lives in its own special zone." "One tough place to live is where waves splash the land. First you're wet, then you're dry. It can get out of hand. The limpet sea snail grinds a spot in a rock where it stays at low tide to survive the dry shock. A bit further down, where the waves often hit, beds of sturdy black mussels appear quite a bit. The mussels close tight when the water is low, but some shorebirds can crack them with one well-placed blow. Sea palms stand tough on the rocks anchored tight. The waves knock them down, but they bounce back upright. "Hey Maggie," said Jake, "come and look at my find. It's a small, shallow pool that the tides left behind." Maggie scrambled up close. Jake was right. What a shock. A small saltwater home was built into the rock. A curious crab skittered over the top, and as Maggie reached out, Jake said, "No, Maggie, stop. These habitats will be disturbed very much if you take things or change them, so look, but don't touch." A seagull swooped by with a screech and a cry, while some pelicans flew in a line through the sky. The seabirds make use of both places at hand. They can feed in the sea and build nests on the land. "Hey, look!" Jake exclaimed. "Do you see what's offshore? There are sea otters, Mag. Have you seen them before?" The otters wrap up in the kelp for a sleep. This keeps them from drifting away to the deep. "Well, we better head back." Jake was ending their stay. "Did you have a good time? Wasn't it a great day?" Maggie followed behind, thinking back to before. Jake was right. She was thrilled with the great rocky shore. So there's something really important that Jake told Maggie towards the end of that story. He told Maggie that Maggie shouldn't pick up any of the little sea creatures in the habitat. That's very important when you go to visit a tide pool, because that's all of those creatures live in that rocky shore habitat. That's their home. And we wouldn't want to be picked up and taken away from our home, and neither do our little sea creatures. That's where they live, and that's where they can be safe. If you move them into another habitat that they're not used to, then they could die or be damaged somehow. So we want to always leave everything in the rocky shore and the tide pools where they're at. You can look with your eyes, you can smell with your nose, you can even touch with your hands. You could just use a 2-finger touch and gently touch. But we should never be grabbing and pulling animals off the rocks because it would hurt them. So I have a little project for you to do that goes along with our little Rocky Shore Habitat book. You can make your own seashore book, and this is included in your packet for your homework this week. So I'm going to read you the little book, and I'm going to show you how it works. You get to color all 3 pages, and then I'm going to show you what you do. At the edge of the ocean, where land meets water, lies the seashore. Some seashores are sandy, while others are rocky. Waves come crashing on these shores. Every day, the tide goes in and out at the seashore. When the tide comes in, seawater covers part of the shore and the animals that live there. When the tide goes out, water pulls back into the ocean. So after you're going to need some help from your parents, and the directions are also in the packet. But after you color and cut out each page, then in the middle, this opens up so that you can see inside a tide pool. So I'll read you this next part. Tide is out. The tide is out on this rocky shore. Barnacles, mussels, and sea anemones trap water inside their shells and sealed up tight. They can breathe only in water. Some animals hid under damp seaweeds. Water got trapped between the rocks, forming a tide pool. What do you think is in it? What do you think is going to be inside? Let's look. So the next page also, you cut in the middle. Wow, look at that. In a tide pool, look what the ocean left behind. A baby octopus, a sea slug, an abalone, a sea star, a purple sea urchin, and a fish. They are trapped in the tide pool until the tide returns. Why do the barnacles, snails, and sea anemones stay open in the tide pool? I'll have you think about that. So enjoy making your little booklet. Remember, I always love to see your projects. So have your mommy or daddy send me a text or an email. And you can also email or text me if you have any questions on how to make your booklet. Thanks again for watching.